Hi, this is Dr. Katrin from the Pet Behavior Chat podcast. I hired Adam because even though I knew I really wanted to start a podcast, I had no idea how to go about it and no idea how to launch a podcast. I purchased Adam's podcast launch blueprint course for myself and my entire podcast team, which includes a great step-by-step launch guide as well as 5 one-to-one coaching sessions with Adam. By working with Adam, we've been able to plan out and coordinate our podcast launch really easily and effectively. And 4 days after the launch of our podcast, it was ranked number 3 in our category on Apple Podcast. Thank you so much, Adam.
What's up, Pod Pals? It's your buddy Adam, and you are listening to Podcasting Business School. It's the show where I teach podcasters simple strategies to help you make more money, get more clients, and build a profitable online business. And in today's episode, I'm going to help you start to solve 2 of the 4 problems that I'm obsessed with helping podcasters solve. The first problem we're going to address is how to convert more podcast listeners into paying clients. And the second problem we're going to address today is how to simplify your online business strategy. And the reason this topic came up today, we're going to be talking about how to develop your ideal podcast listener journey. The reason this came up is because I've been working with a couple of my clients. Both of them are doing one-on-one coaching with me on this. And we're having so many aha moments. And then I looked back, and I'm like, I haven't done an episode about this in like a year and a half. So, and a year and a half ago, it was just about my ideal podcast listener journey. It's a process that I call the podcasting success timeline. And I'm going to unpack that today. But really, we're going to talk about why you should be using this strategy as well, and why this is an effective tool for you. Now, as we go through this, if you're like, this is great, I could use a little bit of hand holding, I could use a little bit of extra help with this, definitely go to the link in the show notes. Check out the 3 different ways we can work together with my coaching programs. I've got group coaching, one-on-one, and a hybrid that has a little bit of both. The link will be in the show notes. If you, again, want to just move a little bit faster through this process and make sure that it's optimized. So let's talk about what exactly is an ideal listener journey. The most effective way to define this would be to start off talking about what it's not. This is not a customer journey. A lot of people describe their funnel as a customer journey. That is not what we're talking about. It's not like they do an email, a lead magnet, and then they get 5 emails, and then they do this other thing, and then they buy a small ticket, and then they buy a high ticket. That's not what we're talking about. What we are going to talk about is we're going to address the question of what is the journey that your ideal fit podcast listener is trying to go on. So think about the ideal fit, the person who you are creating your content for. What is the journey they are trying to go on? Another way to think about it, what is the transformation that they want to go through? All right, I think one reason why a lot of podcasters aren't earning meaningful income is you don't understand this. All right. And even if you're kind of newer to your niche and you're kind of in your journey to becoming an expert, this is still going to be a really helpful process to go through, because this is where you start to put yourself in the shoes of your listeners and potential clients and really think about what they want to achieve, what they need to learn to achieve that, instead of making the mistake that a lot of us make of, here's what I think is cool. Here's what I think they need. Here's the course that I'm going to design and just hope that somebody buys. Or here's the content I'm put out there, just hope that it's the right thing. We are going to kind of flip things and really start thinking from our ideal listeners' perspective. And these are also, as online business owners, these are our ideal clients as well. All right. So that's why I call it an ideal listener journey and not a client journey or whatever, because I don't want to create confusion about that. But that's basically what we're talking about. Your ideal fit listener should also be your ideal fit client. And we're looking at the transformation that they want to go through from point A to point Z or whatever. So when you are going to develop your ideal listener journey, there are a few things that this is really going to be helpful for with you in your content creation and your business. The first thing, it's going to help you with creating expert positioning. All right. If you can define or help define the journey that your listeners want to go through, that creates instant expert positioning. Let me give you an example. The first time I did this was for my weight loss show. For those of you that are newer to this show, I started off in podcasting in 2015 in the health and weight loss space because I owned a fitness facility. That was my background. And weight loss is super frustrating and confusing. And with weight loss, we all get fed ads on social media and we're just like randomly trying things and hoping that something produces a result. So when I created my ideal listener journey for that listener avatar, I clearly defined here's phase 1, here's phase 2, here's phase 3, here's phase 4. With each phase, I'm like, here are the symptoms you're probably experiencing, and here are the exact steps I want you to take to move to the next phase. And this was like magic for expert positioning because I instantly created clarity for my audience. That's the second benefit of doing this. Expert positioning via clarity for your audience. With podcasting, with online business, same thing. Should I do email funnels? Should I not do email funnels? How many emails should I send out? What topics? What is my niche? What topics are in my niche? What content pillars? There are so many things. Should I have courses? Should I have a membership? There's so many confusing action steps, questions, and answers that we're looking to get out there and actually achieve, that it just creates this wheel of confusion. So with my ideal listener journey, which I'll unpack for you here in a minute, the goal is to create clarity for you as my ideal fit listener. All right. The third thing that's going to really help with your online business by going through this process is it's going to help you create the appropriate offers and or resources for your clients. When you have this journey clearly defined, we don't create an offer that doesn't help your ideal fit listeners move through this. We don't create a resource, free or paid, that doesn't help them move through this. That's how we define what is a waste of time. Something that we think is cool. Oh, let's try this. But if it doesn't help them on this journey, we don't do it because they won't buy it. They won't participate in it. They won't download the free thing. They won't buy the paid thing. All right. So this is going to help you simplify your online business strategy a ton. All right. So that's kind of the setup. What I'm about to do is unpack my ideal listener journey, which I call the podcasting success timeline. And some of you heard me write about this, talk about this before. Each time I do it, it's a little bit different, a little bit optimized. This is a process. So that would be another pro tip of just create a rough draft of this, create what you know now, and you will refine this month after month, year after year of using this process. All right. So I'm going to unpack mine. It's meaty. There's a lot there. It's probably going to take me 15 minutes just to unpack this thing. We'll see. And at the end, after I do that, I'm going to just give you some pro tips on creating your own. All right. But I think having you listen to me unpack mine will be helpful. And I just want you to just sit in that seat of my ideal listener avatar and see what you experience. Because if you do this right, one thing that will definitely happen with your audience is they will try to figure out where they are at. They will start to self-select of like, oh, which phase am I in? Am I a phase 1 person? Am I a phase 2 person? Instant self-selection and then clarity. And then you're giving action steps, which creates expert positioning. So watch how your brain works as I unpack this thing. All right. So here is the podcasting success timeline. I've got 4 phases. My first phase, I named the podcrastination zone. All right. So the phase 1 people are the ones that you've had that podcast idea living in your head for like a year, but you've not hit the record button yet. You are a podcrastinator. The symptoms of somebody that's in this phase, I've got, 3 big symptoms. The first one is FOMO, fear of missing out. This person feels the pressure to launch a podcast because they don't want to miss out on the business growth, the brand growth, etc. All right. Second symptom, perfectionism. You've got 17 ideas for the name and for your show art, but none of them are the one, and you can't get started yet. Symptom number 3, tech frustration. This person understands that they need to create good content, but that tech is getting in the way. Which mic should I buy? What's the camera? What's the soundproofing? And there's a lot of confusion around that. So this person's asking questions like, do I really need a $500 microphone? Do I need a fancy podcast layer to record in? How do I get my audio onto Apple and Spotify, which is an actual question that I had before I started. Like, how do I make I recorded a thing. How do I make it go to Apple Podcasts? So action steps. If you are a card-carrying podcastinator, phase 1 person, I've got 5 things I want you to focus on right now and only focus on these 5 things. And this will help you move into phase 2. Number 1, you need to get really clear about who your show will serve. Number 2, you got to learn about SEO for podcasting, not for website, not for blogging, not even for YouTube. Learn about SEO and organic discovery and apply those principles that you're going to learn there to your podcast name, your host description, and your episode titles. Step number 3, set up your 52-week content list. I want you to map out potential episode topics and guest episodes. I want that list to look like 52. I want it to look exactly like 52. All right. So a mix of whether it's 26 potential podcast episode topics and 26 potential guests that you want on your show. This is a year's worth of content. I make all my clients do this that are launching because now we've got a lot and it's easier than you think. 52 sounds like a lot at first, but usually people have this done in like 10 minutes. All right. 4th action step. We're going to pick 4 episodes to launch with. We will launch with 4. All right. All live, all at once, 4 episode on the launch week. Number 5, this is important. You're going to have a ready, fire, aim mindset. We're going to stop waiting for perfect and just get your show out there. Trust me, if you're in phase 1, episode 100 will be much better than episode 1. But the only way to get to episode 100 is to launch episode 1. Let's get started. Ready, fire, aim. All right. Phase 2. Phase 2, once we move out of podcastination, we move into the still not so comforting of a name, the post-launch frustration zone. All right. And this is where a lot of my ideal fit clients are stuck. All right. So in the post-launch frustration zone, you've launched your show and that what I call the new show smell has started to wear off a little bit and things are a little bit tougher than you expected them to be. So symptoms. Symptom number 1, your show is averaging less than 125 downloads per episode. Symptom number 2, you're feeling frustrated about the lack of growth. Symptom number 3, you're not making meaningful income yet. Very frustrating. Symptom number 4, you're feeling pressure around releasing consistent content and taking time to promote it correctly. So those weekly episodes aren't flowing quite as easy as you thought they would. And the promotion efforts and energy for promoting a new episode have definitely gone down. Number 5, this is the big one. You've considered quitting. That thought has rolled around in your brain piece. And you've thought, like, is this worth it? I'm not getting the ROI. Those are the symptoms of the post-launch frustration zone. Let's talk about action steps to get you the hell out of this place. This is where podcasters quit, right here. If you can't go from phase 2 to phase 3, you're going to quit. All right. So these are really important action steps. I've got 6 of them. Number 1, we got to double check to make sure that you're leveraging SEO and organic discovery to attract your ideal listeners. A lot of people are still like, they've got the Mr. Cutie Pie show that has 0 SEO. They have a creative, cute name, and their people are not organically finding their show. All right. Action step number 2, use my 72-hour marketing window strategy to effectively promote each new episode with 3 to 5 unique assets within 72 hours of each new episode release. Number 3, start developing and testing start anytime offers. All right. That will serve your ideal fit listeners. These are simple coaching consulting packages that work extremely well. We don't need an overly complex, robust course, membership, mastermind offer. Let's just start getting some coaching offers out there that anyone can start at any time. Someone becomes obsessed with your show. They say, let's get started. You say, okay, let's get started Monday. They pay you and away you go. Action step number 4, start building expert positioning with solo and coaching episodes. Just like I'm doing here. This is a solo episode. All right. We need to build that expert positioning in this phase, especially. Action step number 5, start setting aside some funds each month to invest in podcast player app ads like Overcast FM. So when somebody buys your coaching offer, set aside a set amount. This doesn't have to be a giant amount. This could be 5%. It could be 10%. You have to factor in, like, you're going to give away however much for when you pay taxes anyway. Siphon some of this off and it becomes a business expense. All right. So set aside maybe 10, 15%, and that goes into your advertising budget. And you can use that eventually to start buying some paid ads to grow your show. Number 6, action step, start building your damn email list. All right. At this point, you should have either a lead magnet or what I prefer, a high value add newsletter that can be the lead magnet. All right. But we have to be building that email list at this point. All right. If you can check off these 6 things, you will eventually be able to move to phase 3, which I call the growth and monetization traction zone. So only about 20% of my pod pals get to sniff the sweet smell of growth and monetization. And I want to get you all there. So getting you all, my Ideal Fit listeners, from phase 2 to phase 3, that's a heavy lift sometimes, but once we get there, it is absolutely amazing. So symptoms. I've got 5 symptoms of phase 3, the growth and monetization traction zone. We're getting traction on both building our audience and monetizing that audience. Symptom number 1, we're getting over 500 downloads per episode. Nice. Symptom number 2, meaningful income is being produced. People are paying you actual real life money. And you're like, wow, I had $1,500 of clients last month that paid my mortgage. I, hit my first 5K month. Things like that are starting to happen. Maybe not consistently, but they're happening, which is very exciting. Symptom number 3, your content creation flow is getting really consistent each week. You have a system, you have a rhythm. Maybe you're like me and you record new episodes on Tuesday, and then, you do your email marketing on Thursday or whatever, but there is a system, there is a flow. It is not random any longer. Symptom number 4, your content marketing systems are in place and seem to actually be working. So you have a new episode that goes out, you have a 72-hour window strategy that I talked about in the previous phase, and people are commenting. You're getting some new followers, you're getting some new email list subscribers, you're getting some new podcast listeners, and you're seeing that growth happen. It's actually working. All right. And then symptom number 5, collaboration opportunities. So we're looking at things like speaking engagements, podcast guesting opportunities. Those are starting to pop up. You're becoming an influencer in your space within your niche, and people are reaching out going, hey, I would love for you to be a guest on my show or come and speak and teach my audience, do a live event or a virtual event. So those are symptoms that you're in phase 3. Let's talk about action steps to take it another step forward into phase 4. Number 1, double down on expert positioning. So really fine tune that process. And I would try to make sure at least 2/3 of your total content has expert positioning. So that means solo episodes, coaching episodes. That's 2/3 of your total content that you're putting out on your show. And then 1/3 we still have for strategic interview podcast episodes. Number 2, triple down on your efforts to build relationships with your podcast audience and potential ideal clients. So free trainings, coaching episodes, group trainings, little workshops, but also you should be doing a ton of discovery calls with potential clients when you're in this phase. Really thinking about doing what I do, where we shift a lot of the calls to action into discovery call mode versus different offers and things like that. But really look to build relationships. This is why I host a free workshop at the end of every single month. I'm thinking about doing some extended, like 3-day free workshops and stuff like that. So getting connected with Ideal Fit clients and building real relationships with your audience is a big deal in this phase and moving into phase 4. Action step number 3, before you create a new offer, consider improving any offers that you already have that are working and then raising the price. So instead of going, I need to create this brand new course or this brand new membership or this brand new mastermind, what you need to start thinking about is simplification instead. We have to simplify so that we can multiply. That bit of advice was given to me by one of my earliest business mentors, Dan Sullivan from The Strategic Coach. I worked with Dan for 7 years. He was my coach. And I'm the guy that's full of ideas. You guys know this. And Dan just looked at me and said, Adam, you got to simplify so you can multiply. You got too many things out there. So my rule is, before I create a new offer, does this fit into another offer, or can I just make an offer that's already working better. And let's do that instead. A lot easier. Okay. Action step number 4, continue to invest in podcast marketing and growth strategies. So doing ads, Overcast FM ads, newsletter ads, things like that. Social media ads for some people, those work well. But we still have that investment. Maybe we up our percentage a little bit. Now we're making some more meaningful income. We say, all right, I've been investing 7% back into marketing. Maybe we bump that up to 10%. But having a strategy, it's not random. And let me tell you this, if you guys overlook this percentage thing on your marketing budget, you're going to screw it up, because nobody, like, somebody pays you $1,500. You're like, sweet, that's going to my bank account. But you won't think, oh, let's siphon off $500 for marketing. You're not going to do it because you're all hyped up about getting paid. So if you have a system set in place of, like for me, I use the Profit First system. I mean, I'm going off on a little aside here, but check out Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. It's a great book. I have specific percentages. Somebody pays me, whatever for, let's say somebody pays me $1,000. I'm going to take a certain percentage of that, and that goes to marketing budget. A certain percentage of that goes to me. A certain percentage of that is siphoned away for taxes. And a certain percentage of that is also siphoned away for retirement investments. I have a separate account for that. And it all just goes to its spot. And I don't touch it. I don't take it, I'll take the whole thing, put it in my bank account. It all goes to the correct accounts. So lesson learned is make sure you have a set percentage, have a system. New money comes in, immediately siphon off whatever percentage to your marketing budget to like a separate checking account or something like that. Okay. Action step number 5 before we move into phase 4 is consider paid marketing opportunities to help build your email list. All right. So at this point, getting with somebody that can help you run Facebook and Instagram ads, maybe Threads ads. Now we're sponsoring other people's shows, sponsoring other people's newsletters. Start looking at more complex marketing opportunities via paid marketing. So again, our budget is growing a little bit, and I've got a lot of clients now that are doing this, and they're in a phase where we are making money. I'm like, hey, let's reinvest this and let's start doing some Facebook and Instagram ads. I don't help people set those up. I send my business over to Chime House Media for those, Matt and Megan. And I had a client that we're working with on their newsletter, and they just added 1,000 people to their newsletter via paid ads. So that's super exciting, and it's working. So, all right, let's talk about phase 4, the ELF zone, easy, lucrative, and fun. Shout out to Joe Polish, who, I first learned about ELF businesses from. Easy, lucrative, and fun. This is where your podcast journey actually feels easy, lucrative, and fun. Like we're actually having fun with this. It feels way less frustrating, and you're making not just meaningful income, but consistent, like living your life, paying all your bills, income. All right. Symptoms of someone that is in this phase. I got 5 of them. First symptom, we're averaging over 1,000 downloads per episode. That's not that much, right? I mean, 1,000 is doable, right? And I see people hit this, depending on your niche of your show, with 500 downloads per episode. Some people it takes 5,000 downloads per episode. So it's a little bit different, but that's just a benchmark for you. Symptom number 2, we're steadily increasing income from the core offers. So the things that are already working, the things that are already in place, we are seeing more and more income each month. People are continuing to buy those offers, and income is going up. Number 3, we've got a very clearly defined podcast listener to client conversion process. You know exactly what you need to do to create expert positioning, draw the right people into your world, and convert them from passive audience into paying client. Symptom number 4, you absolutely love creating content each week. I can't tell y'all how much I enjoy doing what I'm doing here every Thursday morning when I sit down to write my newsletter. I freaking love it. I love this. I love the entire process of it. All right. Symptom number 5, your business and your brand feel simple. All right. And they feel aligned with the content you're creating and the type of audience and ideal fit audience members that you want to attract and build. All right. There is alignment there and it feels great. All right. Let's talk about some action steps. I've got 4 of them to kind of solidify this position. Because for me in this journey, there's no phase 5. Eventually, you know, it's not an infinite journey, although we all continue to grow. But once we get to the ELF zone, we want to make sure we stay there and optimize and grow within this 4th phase. All right. So action steps. Number 1, don't forget that your number 1 focus point is to keep serving your ideal fit listeners with great content. Don't lose sight of that. You got some dollar signs in your eyes right now. Don't lose sight of serving your ideal fit listeners with great content, great free content. Number 2, avoid chasing those shiny objects. They're going to take time away from what is already working. You're going to hear a podcast and someone talks about masterminds. You don't have a mastermind, but maybe you're making $200,000 a year and that's more than enough. Do we really need to start our mastermind? Is that just a shiny object that's going to take away time from not just starting working in your business? Will take away time from things like your family, from your children, or from you going to the gym and working out. We have to really be careful with this. All right. Don't go chasing shiny objects. Number 3, always challenge the idea when you feel like you want to create a new offer. This is kind of in alignment with number 2. Most of the time, you're going to be a lot better off with just enhancing what is already in place. You guys know I've been through a big business simplification, remodeling going on the last couple of months. And it's really been nice. It's really, really nice because I've got offers in place and I don't see myself creating anything new. I've got my group coaching. I've got my one-on-one coaching. I've got my hybrid coaching, and anything new I create is just a resource or a tool to serve people within those 3 things. And that has just been great. It's very satisfying to know that I don't have to do another launch. I don't have to do another big marketing campaign for a new course or anything like that. What I have exists, and I'm just going to continue to make it better and better and better and better to serve you all. Last thing, action step number 4, we're going to be aware and mindful of our work and life balance situation. All right. We're not going to just keep adding more things to our entrepreneurial plate because we feel like that's what we're supposed to do. The enough versus more filter needs to start to kick in. When you start making significant income with your online business and your content brand, the enough versus more filter has to be there. Again, do I need to create another podcast? Do I need to create another offer? Do I need to have this other thing? For me, once I entered this phase 4, I struggled with that. Just to, all cards on the table, just to be honest, because I'm full of freaking ideas. So the way I get that creativity out is through my content. I give you guys a lot of ideas. I'm like, I'm not going to do this myself, but I think this will work. Or with my clients, I'll go, hey, why don't you try this, this, and this, or just this one thing, and let's see if that works. I would do this myself, but I can only have so many offers and so many different monetization methods. What's working for me is working for me, and I'm not going to add anything else. So I had to really go into, that minimum effective dose mindset. And that's worked well for me. And my calendar is open. I feel like I've got space in my weekly calendar to breathe. I work hard. I work effectively and efficiently. I love working with my clients and helping them go through this journey. But I also am taking my kids to school. We're having meals together. We're going and doing family things. I go to the gym. I'm sitting in the freaking sauna 4 days a week. It's great. I love it. All right. So we have to be mindful of that balance. All right. So those are the 4 phases of the podcasting success timeline. As predicted, it took me about 15 minutes to knock that out. So now that you, as the listener, have listened to me unpack that, it's pretty robust. There's a lot there, right? Let's talk about some tips for you for creating your own version of this. All right, the first tip is typically when I'm working with clients, we're going to have 3 to 5 phases. I think you need to have at least 3, because a journey with one phase isn't a journey. A journey with 2 phases, like I started and then I'm perfect. So 3 to 5 phases. And when I'm helping my clients do this, we do phase 1, the beginning phase and the end phase first. And then we work on what's happening in between. I go, hey, where are they starting? Where are they ending? And then let's unpack the middle. All right. Second tip, have 3 to 5 symptoms for each phase. So what are they experiencing, both emotionally and like in reality? So things like with my procrastination zone, feeling frustrated about fear of missing out, and also having like tech issues and things like that. So what are they feeling? And then like actual things. Or with the post-launch frustration zone, I give you a specific download number that you're probably under. That's more of a stat versus an emotion. And don't be afraid to have a mix of positive and negative emotions in there. A lot of my clients, it's all like they think they associate symptom with negative. And even as we get towards the end, they're still having like symptoms, like negative things. I'm like, no. Like maybe a symptom is you start to feel personal momentum, or you're sleeping better, you have better relationships, or you're gaining confidence, or you're making sales. So have some positive symptoms. Can be positive is what I'm trying to say. And if you have more than 6 symptoms, that's usually a sign to me. Like I had a client that had 10 symptoms in one phase. I said, this is probably 2 phases. This is either we need to get rid of some symptoms or create another phase for these other 5 symptoms. All right. Third tip, you should have, again, 3 to 5 action steps to progress through each phase. So you've got a phase, you got 3 to 5 symptoms of being in that phase, and then you have 3 to 5 action steps to get to the next phase. Tip number 4, and this is a big one. This is where the online business simplification happens, y'all. You should have an offer or a resource that can help your listeners move from each individual phase to the next one. So if you have 4 phases, you should have a tool, a resource, or an offer that takes people from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and 3 to 4. Actually, from 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. So that'd be 4 offers or 4 resources. I stopped using the word offer, and it could be a resource within an offer. Okay. So if you have group coaching with me, so people can do group coaching with me and I can move through them through all 4 phases. All right. But they're going to have a different protocol resource. I've got, online course resources and things like that. I've got customized tools I've created to help them move from each phase individually. But you need to look at each stepping stone and go, do I have a resource and or an offer that helps them get from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4? Does that exist? And if not, those are the offers and the resources and the courses and the tools or whatever that you need to create, because that's what they need. All right. This is huge. So, and let me tell you this, you'll probably notice that there's one particular jump that's very hard to make for your ideal fit clients. And there's kind of a traffic jam. For me, it's between phase 2 and phase 3. Taking you all from post-launch frustration into business and growth traction is the hardest part. From phase 2 to phase 3. So that's where you create a signature offer, or you have more robust coaching or more tools. Like that's where the greatest opportunity lies. So as you map this out, look at this with like fresh eyes and go, where are most people getting stuck? And as you talk to your audience about this, as you put clients through this process and talk to them about it, you'll see it. You're like, wow, traffic jams equal opportunity in this instance. So find that biggest traffic jam, and you damn well better have an offer for that one. If you don't, you are just taking money and throwing it down the drain. So that is very important. Right. And then the last tip I've got for your own ideal listener journey is leverage it. Put it out there. You should do a podcast episode once per year, like I do, on this process. You should be writing about this in your newsletter at least once per year. All right. I feature this on my website, the little 4-minute video. I do a quick overview of my ideal listener journey. Use it in social media. Use it when you're doing discovery calls. All right. I have clients that even have a little video. Someone signs up for a discovery call. They say, hey, watch this video, try to figure out where you're at, and we'll talk about it when we meet up on your discovery call. And then they use this and go, oh, which phase do you think you're in? And they will try to self-identify, which already creates expert positioning, which already is like the mindset we want to create. And they already see the action steps that we want them to take. And guess who they can pay to take them through those action steps most efficiently? You, us. All right. So leverage this. Don't just create it. It's a good process because it's going to help you in a lot of ways as the content creator and the business owner. But use this. All right. Pod Pals. That is it. 35 minutes later. I knew this was going to be a robust one, but this is important. And again, this is something that I think would be a great idea for you to go through personally for your business and as a content creator once per year, but put out episodes once per year, put out a newsletter once per year on this topic. And it's going to help your audience quite a bit. Again, quick reminder, if you want some help with developing this yourself, I've got a whole course protocol that I put all my coaching people through. And then I work with them either in group coaching or one-on-one or through my office hours to help them fine tune this. And we get it really dialed in. So if you need a little bit of extra help, check out the link in the show notes. Check out my group coaching options, my one-on-one options, or my hybrid coaching options, and we can get you dialed in. All right, Pod Pals, I appreciate you. I'm excited to be the one helping you kind of move through this journey that I described here today, and hopefully you got some good momentum out of it. And with that, I'm going to send you out into the world, wishing you health, happiness, and many downloads. I will see you on the next episode. Hey there, good looking. Just a quick reminder to hit that link in the show notes and get signed up for my free Podcasting Business School newsletter. I'm going to send you a fresh, hot newsletter every single Thursday with some of my best podcast launch, growth, and monetization strategies. Hit that link in the show notes and keep your eyes on your inbox.